was checked and Aston Dwack. And Aston's going to put in a little bet here. Fancy sizing around about 80 something. Yeah, 82,000. Wells will take a little bit of time. I mean, the question was going to ask himself, is there any two pair combos or a six that he can put him on? And the answer is no, so he's just going to call it off. We'll go to the turn. And just doesn't want to see a king or an ace, really. So no commentator's curse, no king or ace. So Woz will know that his queen can be good a lot of the time here. Aston checks back, so now he's sure that his queen's good.
Now we get a bet from Woz, yeah? Oh, check. Checks.
Check, can you show the queen and Woz will take the pot. Okay, Woz picks it up and rewarded for his bravery in his pre-flop call and defend on the big blind.
Big blind, yeah.
Good poker.
Generally, if you're in that scenario, it's just better to take what's on the board and just check it. Then
is that an opinion or a question?
My opinion. I'd say that.
Okay.
Check it and take what's there, than getting yourself into more trouble.
Yeah, I suppose on the river, the answer to your question is affirmative. I mean, you know, there are situations where Aston could be checking back or could be repping a six or actually have a six, I suppose. But, you know, it's about position at the end of the day, you know. And I don't mind Woz's check and check back by Aston there. You know, Aston could have tried to buy the pot and rep a six, but his story wouldn't have made sense. He checked the turn, you know. So. Here we go, Jack 10. Jack 10 club. It's my favourite hand, so if people win with it, they can be in my club, that's what I always say.
I just like queen 10s, queen 9, my favourite hand.
Queen 10, queen 9. Okay, so if you had to pick one, what would it be?
I'd say queen 10.
Queen 10?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've said it a few times on the screen, but Queen 10 is, they call it the Varconi hand. And the reason is that Robert Varconi won the World Series in 2002 with that hand. And that's why it was known as the Varconi hand. Yeah, so Robert Varconi, you should look up some of the previous winners, but he won it with Queen 10. So your hand is a famous hand. Okay, two players here to the turn. 4, 6, 7, 2. Kenny looking for a straight draw here. Ace high still they're not winning. The 7 of Mr. Sun is winning. Check, check. The 7 will take it. A little smile across the table. And Mr. Sun picks up 200,000 chips there. So it wasn't a particularly small pot.
Big blind, 10, 20.
I haven't seen pocket aces today.
Not yet, no. Okay, so I believe the stream, we lost our internet connection for a short period of time, but it's back up and running. So if you are on the stream, we apologize that you've experienced that loss and hope to have you back soon. I'm actually watching the stream and it is paused at the moment, so we did lose our internet connection. Unfortunately, that's out with our control. We have, of course, we have a backup, and we flicked across that as soon as we could. But there is an interruption on the stream, and you'll be coming out of that interruption now. So we apologise retrospectively, I think is the word. Okay, what have I missed on the screen, Amir? Anything?
Nothing. No good hands. Nothing great.
So So Kenny's raising here with the suited one gappers, as we call them.
I would really flat call with that.
5,000.
Mr. Sun folds. Greg with a Jack 9 in the big blind. 35 to call. He might want to protect his big blind ante and his blinds. He's already in the pot for 40k.
40.
Well, 20k officially, 40k in his own mind, and he gets rid of it. And that's a smart move, I think. You know, does he want to get into it with a big stack? You know, he knows he's going to be put under pressure unless he flops really, really big. So you know, he's you know, at best he's having a flip there. So yeah, smart move.
Kenya 9 to 24. Drops out on the money end.
Yeah, he's out of our millionaires club, but that will not be for long, trust me. Okay, there's something. Is there anything going on at our outer cable? Looks like Rakesh has got some chips to play with, and certainly looks like Jared Sullivan's picked up a few. We know Abdullah has been knocking people out for fun there, so we don't need to see his chips. And looks
Sean
like
all in.
it looks like Sean's all in. So let's just stay with this for a minute. We'll stay with this picture for a minute. I know we're dealing on the outer table, but I just want to see if we lose a player on the outer table.
20,000.
We can follow the action on the main table at the bottom of the screen with the software. Aston with the Queen 6 suited under the gun. 20 to call.
20.
Aces from Rogers.
And Rogers has got the aces, but we'll stay with the outer table still. I want to see if what goes on here. There's an all-in, and it seems like Sean Govender is the player at risk. So raise to 60,000 and a fold from Kenny. Fold from Waz. A Huawei Sun with 5-4 is probably going to get rid of that. And there's a big smile from Sean down there. And if those are going across to Abdul, no, they're going across to Alvin Pillay, who's a very good friend of Sean Govender, by the way. And Sean walks away, and I think that's us down to 13. We'll go back to the main table. And Lenny folds, and Rogers gets his aces through, and he'll open fold these. Yeah, there we go. I had
So he
aces.
won't show it. He showed it. Then with 11 big blinds. Craig on 18. Then we'll have to make moves.
Yeah. There's an interesting dynamic there I might talk a little bit about.
You might give me 10,000.
Hand number 32, 20k in the bigs.
There we go, 20,000.
Okay, Rogers to act, ace 5 off, they're going in the muck. Round to Kenny with kings. Interesting to see his size in here, Kenny. He might just decide to limp here.
That's the first 1,000 as it should.
55.
So he's raised it up. Doesn't look like he's going to get any customers. Don't know what Aston's got in the big.
No customers.
Texas Dolly. 10-2. Dahl Brunson's favourite hand. Won 2 World Series bracelets with that hand. 10-2.
10-2.
And they also wrote a book called The Super System. Very famous poker book. And interestingly, when he won his last bracelet, he had a 10-3, not 10-2, which is somewhat curious.
I'm just happy for you guys. I'm happy for you guys.
Okay, so we're losing Rogers from the feature table. That's because we're balancing tables and we've got to have equal players on each table. So he will be moving, and the reason that he's been selected is because he's in the next big blind position.
All right, 20,000. 20. Mr. Sun, what's on you? Now you move.
So Mr. Sun and hijack 7-6 off. He's not interested. The feed is back up, by the way.
Ace 9 for Greg.
50,000.
What do you fancy? I think Greg's in the cutoff here. He might fancy just a call with 20. No, he's going to ship it. I think he's thinking about shipping it in here.
Looked at that.
Oh, he's raised to 50.
2,000.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
ace king.
And yeah, Kenny snaps him off, of course. I mean, you know, no hanging around for Kenny. He's not one to slow roll people. He's put him all in.
I think he'll fold. He's still got 300.
So your money's on a fold, eh? Well done, Amir. Good call. Good call, sir. So David Olivier, welcome to the screen, David. Welcome. Nice to see you online, sir. I know you were on yesterday and supporting us, so good to have you back. Hopefully you haven't missed too much of the coverage when we got our internet outage earlier. I didn't see. Did Kenny get back up to 1 million there, Amir? No? Yes?
No,
He's
close,
still
close.
close.
But not so, not so.
Not so. Okay. All right. And we got 27 minutes to run. Oh, and then we get a
Next
break. What is the time, by the way? It's local time. It's 14:36 and 39 seconds. Well, for those of you who don't speak 24-hour clock, 2:36 in the afternoon.
There we go, 20,000.
Ace 4. How many times, your first glance of it, have you seen ace ace? It looks like ace ace.
Yeah, it's a spooky one. That I quite often squeeze my cards as well, and if it's an ace at the front, you almost get a little bit of an adrenaline rush when you see the top of that 4. Yeah, absolutely right. So welcome to Blaster onto the stream again. Nice to see you, Sean. Regards to you and your family. Get on the bus, come to Natal. Ace 4 raised to 55,000, folded around to was in the big blind with 6-4 suited.
Was not call. This is
Yeah,
bad.
call. He's calling all day. Trust me, he's I told you, see, he's calling all day. Was he wants to defend his big blind, and he knows he's got live cards. That's why he's
Yeah.
called. Okay, so the ace high of Mr. Sun is still good. Check by Moise. And I like a continuation bet here from Mr. Sun. Something around 100k.
$66.
So Mars is thinking I got to call 66 to win at 206 on a board of 9 Jack Queen with only 1 diamond. And the answer to the question is he doesn't flat call, he folds or he re-raises.
He definitely full re-raise. You
Yeah.
can't flat call.
No, there's no flat calling here because there's nothing to be gained by flat calling. And there's the fold. And Mr. Sun will pick up a nice little pot of 85,000 profit, 206 in total. And Mr. Sun gets richer, 1.7 million.
Close to 2, 300.
Yeah, And Kenny is smack on the 1 million mark now. That's after that all-in North with Greg Ronaldson. So. And Lenny continues to be our short stack. Greg Ronaldson is our second short stack. And as we've seen, both of them are looking for spots to get the money in here. And rightly so. If you're going to win money in this tournament, you've got to have chips. And you know, your fold equity, or sorry, your fold equity goes down every time you go through a set of blinds. You know. And you know what I mean by fold equity is how much you can scare the other guy with the size of your chip stack when you get it all in, basically.
It's also very important who's sitting next to you, the players sitting next to you, big blind, small blind, because you know, if you're short stacked, you're
Indeed.
bullied.
Position on the table is what you're saying is important, but more
Yeah.
importantly, it's the people in those positions as well. You got to know
Yes,
your man, eh?
yes.
You got to know your man. What do you think of me when I'm playing? Are you scared of me? This is the answer.
Yes.
There
I'll
you
give
go.
the
I knew
answer,
you'd be
yes.
scared of me.
I played with you. I played with you on the table.
I'm not so scary. I'm just an old man trying to earn a living, you know. But you play nicely, eh? How long have you been playing poker, yeah?
Started first and Sun City.
So not long is
Not
the
long,
answer, eh?
Not long.
Not long. And now you're sitting here being one of the resident experts commentating on the TV.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'll be
I
asking
just-
for your autograph before you leave.
I just jumped in the deep end in Sun City. I never played before.
Good man, good man. Love your work. Love
They have
your
good hands,
work.
yeah? Ace
Yeah.
10, King Jack.
So he's raised, Kenny's raised it up with the King Jack off. And Huawei's son is Ace 10. He's actually got the better hand. And Huawei's in the big blind, so he's going to defend here. And we're going to see a flop.
I think Queen's hit
An
the
Ace
board.
King flop would be interesting.
King.
Bang, Kenny hits his king. Top pair, reasonably good kicker with the jack. So Huawei's son is, I think he's checked, and Kenny bets so. Mr. Sun can fold easily here,
Sorry.
to be honest. He can fold easily. Why does he want to put another 115,000 in? If he doesn't believe Kenny, then he can call. But
Yeah.
you know, Kenny's not been caught with his finger in the pie at all, so. And he shows a king. So there you go, nicely done. And 105,000 chips go across to Kenny. So Kenny will be at 1.1 million now. Firmly back in the Millionaires Club, back in the
Back.
seven figures. Okay, so Carol Snarman on the string, welcome to you. And wow, Miss Arena Duplessis. Nice to see you, Arena. A long time since we've seen each other. Hopefully at the next event that your guys run, I'll pop along and say hello. And look forward to meeting you. My very best to your daughter and your husband. And I hope you're having a great day and enjoying the live stream.
There's 12 players left.
There's no easy players left in this field. They're all strong players. Huh?
12 of them?
Yeah, I think it's 12. I'm looking at the tech team. Let's have a quick count here. Yeah, it's a big nod. 12, you were right on there. So as I say, once they get down to 10, there'll be a redraw and we'll go to the
Final.
feature table, which will also be now known as the final table.
Final table, yeah.
Yeah, so our final table will be 10 people. But we're 2 players away from that. We got 2 short stacks at our table, of course, Len and Greg. And they're trying their hardest to spin it up to make top 4 and get some money. So Aston is in a hijack here, and is that a raise? He's raised his ace-7 up, and you know, this is what I call the long-range steal. He's in the hijack and he's trying to push the button off it, and he's trying to make sure the blinds are not interested and take the money. So let's see. So Sun folds in the small blinds. Greg to call 33k and he can't do it. Now he knows Greg is short, so it's all in or fold.
Yes.
And the long-range steal has worked.
Big blind. 20,000.
Yeah. What do you think of my long-range steal? Do you like that term? No? Why not? I think it's a good term. He was definitely stealing from there, that was for sure, with that hand. I mean, he's just using the ace, and of course he has some fold equity, some equity at showdown himself, so good for him. So I think we'll look at the timing screen momentarily, but we'll be getting near to our first break. The breaks are only 15 or 20 minutes in this tournament until later this evening, and I think they give the team an hour to go get some food. What events are on today that you're interested in? I know there's a satellite this afternoon for the main event. You
I
fancy
played
that?
many satellites.
And how many seats have you won?
Only one.
What do you want? How many
No,
satellites did you play?
Many, over 15.
15 satellites, one seat. Ask me how many I've played.
One.
Ask me how seats I've won.
One.
There you go. That's the ratio you want, brother.
I was on the final table with you on that way.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh dear, sorry if I smashed you around a bit. I'm really quite a nice person. That's my wife, you know. I'm actually just a big teddy bear. So Rex on the screen, on the stream, should I say? Nice to see you, Rex. Rex, another one of the top professionals here in South Africa, plays a bit internationally. Recently won a tournament in the Philippines, WPT tournament in the Philippines. Yeah, and Rex is his ancestry or his family are from China, South African boy through and through. Love talking with Rex. A great poker mind and enjoys company very, very much. I actually like playing against Rex as well. You know, he's always a challenge, and you're always going to learn something when you've been heads up against him. So, yeah. Big shout out for Rexy. Sorry you're not down here in Natal, but we're going to see you in the fullness of time.
Main event starts on Friday.
I believe you're right. We do have a schedule here somewhere amongst all of this paper. I did have some earlier. There we go. My beautiful assistant will bring it across to us. I have to say that, otherwise I
Very
get
good
in
service
trouble.
in this room.
The service is fantastic, by the way. So the Monsterjam main event, Friday the 20th of September, 7 p.m., 15,000 entry. It's a re-entry 3-day event. You've got 9 levels to re-enter, and the starting stack is 50,000 chips. So quite deep, eh?
Deep. How many entries do you think we'll get?
In Natal, main event, how many entries? I am going to take the over on 120. You want to bet me? I've got $10 as more than 120
I'd say
people.
about 170.
170, I'll take the under on 170. Shake my hand.
Right.
You've just lost $10, trust me. Oh, listen, I hope you're right for Mark's, because 170 is just huge. But we shall see now. We got
see,
$10
let's
on the. Yeah, you
Yeah,
heard it here,
we-
folks.
we
I'm
got-
not letting him leave the country
Many
until I get my
witnesses
$10.
too. We've got about 38 witnesses.
Not just that. There's 3 streams going here, so and trust me, there's plenty of people watching this back as well. So they'll be. And listen, I hope I lose my $10 for Mark and for Monsterjam. I hope they have 200 entries. Really, I do. Okay, so the grind continues here. I didn't get to see the timing screen, but I'm pretty sure we're there we go, 16 minutes. The service is fantastic here. Huh? We've got food coming from the left and paperwork. We've got information coming from the
Information on
right.
the right.
And we're just parked off in a couple of armchairs, huh? How lucky is that?
Very awesome. Very awesome.
Yeah.
Coming often.
Yeah, listen, it's by invitation, you know that, huh? So
Yeah.
you should be honoured. Don't tell anybody, when you go outside, you have to tell them we're sat in old chairs, it's freezing cold, there's no coffee, no tea, and create that sort of air that we're suffering
Yeah.
in here, okay? I don't want anybody out there knowing that we're having an easy time, okay?
They will do.
All right, your secret's safe, he says.
Oh, yeah, the knock on the door.
Okay, Mr. Sun 1.6 million, Wasgani 1.5, Kenny 1.1, and then, you know, Ashton's getting short as well now with 430,000. I mean, you know, that's 20 bigs, or 21
Then
bigs.
We got about 3 guys short.
Yeah, 15 minutes on the level before we go off for our first coffee break of the day.
20-minute break?
Pardon me?
20 minutes?
The break will be 15, I
15.
think. We'll find out. It'll come up on the screen. But average stack is 875,000. So we've got 3 people on the table, well below average. You know, well below average. Okay, so the next hand is going to begin. We'll flip back to the over table shot. Love our camera work, eh? It's not just beautiful. Was Goni under the gun, 6-4, they're going in the muck. Huawei Sun with the computer hand, Queen 7, I suspect they'll be folded as well in early position. One of our short stacks now, Greg Ace Jack, money's going in.
All in, I'm sure.
Money's going in, Greg. No thinking. Here we go. Good luck, sir. Lenny looks down at 8-2. He's not going to fight Greg with those. Ashton has got... by the way, Lenny, you're supposed to fold. Thank you. What has Ashton got? Jack 2, no good. Is he going to get a customer with Kenny? Ace 8 suited
maybe.
in the big blind. Kenny will do the numbers here. He's got 1.1 million behind. He knows he has to put 215 in a call, and I think he's going to make
He
the call.
calls.
Yeah, he's going to make the call. Cards on the backs.
Aces.
Ace is there. So any 8 or any 3 for a chop or a... Oh, that brings some more chop opportunities. Any king, any 3, any queen, any 8s. 5. And Greg
Great,
Ronaldson
doubled
will
up.
double up. And not a bad call by Kenny there, you know. In the big blind, he's got lots of chips. Ace 8 suited. Greg's range is pretty wide open there as well. So Greg gets a bit of breathing space. He moves up to 500k. And how fortunes change so quickly, huh?
Very.
It's
Kenny
quick.
874.
Yeah, you just give a chunk of change away, a couple 100,000. But Kenny's not going to be in any danger there. But Greg moves up to 500,000. So Ashton is now our second short stack with Lenny Freeman. So while we're doing the deal, just a shout out to Sibaya Casino and Entertainment World, who are entertaining us, housing us, and partnering with us. Hendon Mob and the Global Poker Index, who look after all the statistics for poker across the world. So if you want to know who's who in the zoo, log on, and you can use that as a reference database. Our sponsors, Aqua Vita Water and Regal Hospitality and Events. Thank you for your continued support. This is hand number 40 of day 3 of the Superslam 60k buy-in. And we are down to 12 people. And I have the privilege of having Mr. Madasa Amir in the commentary box for me. And Amir won't mind me telling people that he's a relatively new player, but still an accomplished player. Final table with me the other day, I believe, in the satellite. So we've locked horns already.
Yeah, I came out about 5th, I think.
5th.
On the final
How many
table,
people
was
won a prize? 3.
it? 3.
Sorry for you.
Fourth was 100 then. I
Sorry
think.
for you.
Who won the 4th one? I'd rather come out 5th than come out 4th.
I'm just kidding with you, brother.
Yeah, no.
You know what they say, winners can smile, the rest of you make your own arrangements.
Yes.
No, you play very nicely, Amir, very nicely.
I got
remember.
lucky there with the pockets, continuous pockets, remember?
What, you
Kings,
got lucky or I
jacks.
got lucky?
I got
You got lucky. See, it's nice to recognize when you're lucky, you know that, huh? Okay, let's just put back the table. 8-3 jack on the flop, ace of clubs on the turn. Waz has got 2 clubs here and a straight draw, and Kenny's got the ace high. So this is going to be quite an interesting. Waz is bet out here. Sorry, and it's Aston, not Kenny with the ace 5. That's a snap call, so we're looking for a river card. 4 of clubs would be a shocker.
Yeah, that's
No, 2 of... No, he hasn't got a straight draw, he's got the ace. My apologies.
no clubs.
No clubs. So Aston has got a lock on this. 274,000 in the pots. I checked on 1.6. Kenny at 864. Aston now back up to 570. And Greg drops back into one of the bottom 2 places.
Len Freeman now has been.
Yeah, Lenny Freeman at the bottom there. I mean, our big blind now is 20,000. So, you know, Lenny's just got over 10 bigs, and Lenny will be very conscious of that. And the button's coming around very, very quickly to him. I mean, the guy to his right, Greg Ronaldson, is now under the gun. So another 2 free looks for our friend Lenny, and then he's going to have to start making some moves, because he's going to be in the big blinds, small blinds, and With the big blind comes the ante as well.
Yes, blind will be up shortly.
So our big blind now is Mr. Sun. Small blind is Wasgani, and Kenny Morgan is on the button.
Okay.
Greg will get rid of the 96 suited. He won't be interested in playing those cards. Ace-4 for Lenny Freeman. A little bit early to be pushing with Ace-4 in terms of position. He knows that. He's just calculating that, and he'll throw his cards away.
Yeah.
6-5 for Aston. I don't think he's going to get too sticky with those. He'll show the box and he'll just put them in the middle. There we go. Kenny looks down at Queen 3 there, rubbish as well. Queen 5 for Wasgani in the small blind. Is he going to give him a walk or is he going to complete? Can't see him raising. I love this guy. I love the way Was plays. So there you go. Raises it up to get rid of Mr. Sun off of the big blinds. Mr. Sun's going to call.
Surprisingly, okay.
The thing is, Mr. Sun knows that Was can get out of line there, so he's kind of banking on that. And we got 3 diamonds here, so Mr. Sun has just flopped the straight and the straight flush draw. In other words, he's got the nuts, and Was will be very lucky to do anything here. I like this for Mr. Sun. He's actually betting it. He's going to show these cards, trust me, he's going to show them. And what are you doing betting? What are you doing betting? He said, I was trying to double bluff you.
Why would you want to walk?
I made a straight.
So why would you want to walk?
Why wouldn't you want to walk?
I love Mr. Sun. I love Was as well. They're great guys and they love to play. Super packer. Well done, guys. So we're getting very close to our break here. I cannot believe my wife has fed the technical team before me. That's just outrageous. Yeah? They've got work to do, my wife. They've got work to do. Okay, I see that our live feed has got an interruption again. I don't know if we've actually dropped. Maybe it's my laptop. Yeah, it's not the feed, so that's good news.
Aces for Len.
Okay, now Lenny is going to take a bit of time here before he chucks all his money in. But definitely his money's going in. I mean, you know, Lenny might get a bit fruity here and just raise. In the hope that somebody's going to re-raise him. That's what I would do.
But with 253...
Watch. A raise. That's what I would do. Raise to 65. Now everybody knows he's a short stack on the table. Lenny wants a customer here. Aston gets rid of it. Kenny gets rid of his cards. Jack 9 in the small blind. And Mr. Sun will be watching Greg as well. Greg has already indicated he's folding his cards. Maybe he's not, but it looks like he is. So Lenny's thinking, yabba dabba doo, I've got a customer. Greg looks down at Queen 3 and they're going in the muck, so he's going to let Lenny and Mr. Sun splash around in the pond. And now Lenny's hoping that Mr. Sun gets a piece of this, but not a piece that's going to beat him. And there it is, he's got second pair. That's a pretty safe flop for aces. Option for Mr. Sun. And then he's going to bet to try and get some value, so this will probably go bet fold. Depends if Mr. Sun believes Lenny's got an overpair or a king.
Or 2 diamonds, you might be thinking?
Yeah, quite possibly he could have 2 diamonds. He's thought about it for too long. I think he's folded.
Oh.
And there comes the call. I mean, Lenny's loving this pot building, but also kind of worried as well. That's not a good card if your name is Lenny. He's going to chip. Mr. Sun has got the backdoor straight draw, and he has got third pair here. But
We're hoping for a 10. Two aces already out.
The amount of money that's in the pot is 423,000. Mr. Sun has to call 123 to win 400 and odd. So he's three and a bit to do money. And you know there's a lot in there. It's whether or not he wants to give Lenny more chips. And of course he's drawing to a jack or a 9 here. And lays it down, and Lenny spins up a nice pot there and wins 170,000 profit. So good for him.
Lenny doesn't show his cards.
And that's good he doesn't show his cards. He doesn't want people to know his strategy was to actually just raise pre-flop rather than shove. If he'd have shoved, he'd have got no customers there. So that's the benefit of raising in that position.
Have you ever lost with pocket aces?
Many times, too many to mention. Oh, yeah, goodness me, I can tell you some horror stories.
And I don't laugh, it's on the camera.
No, I say, have you noticed? Only question I asked is, do you have aces? Do you have aces?
Looks like Jared's chipping up nicely there. Alvin's got a nice stack. Roger's got his back to us so we can see Abdul's stack, and Abdul looks like he's pretty flush there with chips as well.
Pretty comfortable. I think he's in the 1 million mark.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
The rule book says ship.
How much you played it? 54,000. Bishop, Mr. Sun doesn't
Ship will fold up the card.
You don't fold the bishop. Yeah, you see. What extras?
That's 65.
Kenny raised up to 54,000 with his ace-9 in the hijack. And Lenny's not interested, so I think
Small blind, big blind, 10,000.
they go in the muck. Muskie getting pretty close to the break now.
Minutes.
2 minutes and 22 seconds. You said a magic that is. That's when the break is, it just appears. And that's with Marius holding a sandwich in one hand. Imagine what he could do if he had two hands. It'd be incredible. He'd actually become quite efficient. Okay, 2 minutes ago on the level. The prize pool on the right hand side of the screen, 722,400 up top for the winner. A juicy little score, I've got to say. Price of a small family car, a small family home even, and a large family car.
In 3 will fold.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know, was has. They're going in the muck. King 4. Mr. Sun. He likes that 10-8, Mr. Sun. Let's see if he bets again, eh?
How many players in the hand? Fold.
Welcome to Mr. Warwick Wigan on the stream. Welcome, Warwick. Always a pleasure. We miss you down in Natal. Hopefully we'll see you at the weekend. I don't know if we're, there was a question on the stream, I don't know if we're actually going to change feature tables in the break, or if we're going to wait until 2 more players go out and then just do the redraw and bring the players to the table. I'll have to ask the tournament director. I think the preference would probably be play until we lose 2 players and then get a final table, but I'm not the management, so we'll see, and we'll take our lead from those guys. There's a welcome sight for many players.
All
Mr.
in.
Solomon collecting chips. Looks like Alvin Pillay is all in. And someone's asked for a count. Debbie the dealer there is counting. Abdul's getting frustrated because he can count chips from about 4 miles away. He's actually very good at it. So, you know, when people aren't as fast as him, he thinks that they're inefficient. It's just that he's actually very clever at it. And Gerard Solomon is the man to make a decision. So we're going to stay with this. I'm also monitoring the other camera for what's going on. I mean, you'll pick up on the bottom there that Greg's got pocket fives. Welcome to the stream to Andrew Diab. Saw your dad Brian early this morning. Nice to see Johan back as well, and Liam Draycott. Okay, looks like the call's been made on the outer table. And looks like Alvin's staying at the table. And our feature table is breaking. Kenny just picked up a pot there. I think he bet the flop and the other queen ate the 2 pair there, you can see in the bottom. And our outer table will also now go to break. And we'll just confirm we are on break for 15 minutes. We'll put the timing screen up and we'll be back to see you in about 10 or 15 minutes. Before I go, I'd just like to thank Kamir for his time this morning. And, you know, you're welcome back anytime, buddy.
Thank you so much.
All right, let me shake your hand.
Thank you.
And good luck on your poker career as it begins. All the best, buddy.
Welcome to the live stream of the Monsterjam Poker Tour main event here at the beautiful Boardwalk Sun. The action doesn't stop here. Our next stop takes place at the beautiful Sibaya Sun Casino in KwaZulu-Natal. That takes place from the 13th to the 23rd of September 2019. For more information, contact the Monsterjam Poker Tour team and make your booking now.
Blinds are 12,000, it's 24,000. 12, 20.
Okay, welcome back after the break. But the blinds are now 12, 24, 24 on the big blind ante. And we haven't changed tables because two more people will go out and then we'll be going to final table. So the decision was made in the break to stay with the personnel that we've currently got, which I think is a good idea. And welcome on the stream to John Ambrosi and the douche, Dino. Nice to see you online, buddy.
I raised up to 60,000.
And we're back with the action, and Woz wakes up with a couple of cowboys right after the break. Must be nice. So Babette Neithlin says, see you guys this week. Great watching in the stream. Come and introduce yourself, Babette. I don't think we know each other. Maybe I do, and maybe I'm just being an old man. We'll find out. So Mars is 3-bet, and Aston is called. And we're going to the flop. My word, what a flop for 8-7 of hearts against kings. Straight flush draw, and obviously the up and down straight. Huge hand. I don't think Aston's going anywhere here. And was obviously with the overpair.
Okay, bet is 100,000.
And was going to be curious what he's got, obviously. Was is back with his left-handed glove again. Obviously feeling the cold. I don't think there's any version of Mars getting away from this.
All in.
And a call. All in a call. He's got so many outs. Hopefully our computer's going to do the calculation. And there's the flush. Didn't have to wait. And Aston will take down the pot. And I think the total pot is over $1 million. That's probably the biggest pot of the day. Unlucky was. And you know, some bravery shown from Aston there.
We are 401,000.
You know, sometimes you don't need to commentate, just look at the players' faces. You know, bravery on one side, well played on the other, no criticism to either player, just unlucky, and somebody's got to win at this game, you know. Greg's under the gun. Hand 47 of the day on the feature table. 12,000, 24,000, 24,000 on the big blind ante. Greg looks down at Jack 10 under the gun. He's not going to be interested in playing those. Jack 6 suited for Lenny. Saw Lenny during the break. He said, why does the short stack always get bad cards and the big stack get good cards? I said, the truth is, it's not the truth. It's just your perception, and you did have aces and you did play them very well. So we got some messages coming in on the commentary. Great commentary. You're doing a fantastic job. Great asset to Monsterjam Poker. So well done to the team here. By Monsterjam live streaming is fantastic for poker in South Africa. Hopefully to see more of new blood coming through. Keep up the fantastic work. Excellent. Thanks, John Ambrosi. Wow, big hand developing here. Raised to 55,000. Ace Jack. Suited. Mr. Sun with the pocket queens. 31,000 a call. And Moz has been waking up with some big hands. So Mr. Huawei is Sun is free bet to 165, and I think that's the call from Was. No help for either player.
Okay, bet is 206,000.
And Wells has got a ace high here at the end of the day. 19% to win the hand. Obviously, we can see Mr. Sun's cards, and you know, Wells knows that he's beaten, so his cards go in the muck. And you know, Wells is working up with kings, ace jack, and loft both hands, and that's so unfortunate. And with that big pot against Was, Aston is up to second place, and Was drops down to the middle of the field with 616,000. Our short stack is Lenny with just over 12 to 15 big blinds. We go back to our feature table with the dealing.
24,000 to go.
Then he's under the gun with the Queen Jack. He folds. Aston with the 10-2. Gets out of the way. Kenny looks down at ace-6. He's in the cutoff. He might be interested in some action. No. And Wells has gone to the other end of the scale. And Wells has not given up here. On the button. He's put in a bet. He's trying to get through the blinds here. Mr. Sun 10-3, that's very speculative. And Greg might just call it off here and decide to defend his blind. I mean, you can also put it in here. I like the call. I like the call.
High flop.
Well, ace high is good here at the moment. The 3-9 flop. Whilst represents the ace or a pair. Obviously Greg thinks his ace high is good. And so as long as we don't see a 4 or a 3, the ace high will be good. No help to either player. Oz continues to barrel, putting pressure on the short stack. He knows Greg is short. Greg calls it off.
Trevor.
The ace is good. And Greg picks up 236,000 in profit, and you'll be glad to see some chips coming his way. Was drops down to the bottom two, and Lenny continues to be our short stack. Mr. Sun fancies a piece of this on the button.
Raise up to 56,000.
Okay, we'll follow the action on the bottom of the screen, but we hear there's an all-in on the outer table. Looks like George Levine. Lenny Freeman to call 32,000. He folds, and Mr. Sun picks up the blinds. We've got an all-in situation. Looks like all-in from George and a call from Rogers. And it appears that George Levine will be leaving us. So we're down to 11 players. The deal is still shuffling on the feature table, so goodbye to George, unlucky sir, and no doubt we'll be seeing him in another tournament later on during the week. Okay, back to the feature table. Under the gun is Kenny, and if we lose one more player, then we'll be down to our final table, at which time we'll obviously take a break. There'll be a seat redraw, and we'll have to reprogram all the software here. Ace came from Kenny, so he'll be raising it up. Kenny picks up the 60,000 in dead money, and we'll move on to the next hand. I'm reading the stream, and Douglas Van Zyl is on the stream. Douglas is a local fella. He said, "I really enjoyed playing with Gary. What a talent." You flattered me. I thought you were a better player than me by far. Anyway, he says he's loving the stream, and nice to have you on the line there, Douglas. Hopefully we'll see you back for some more tournaments later in the week. Okay, Moz gets rid of that. 24,000 a call for Mr. Sun. He's sitting with 1.7 million, so he's got chips to spend, but at the same time, he doesn't give them away easily. He fancies a piece of it. He's raised it up to 56,000. Western folds. Kenny with the Queen A gets rid of that. I must say, Lenny Freeman's been very, very patient. I say I did catch up with him during the break, and you know, he's grinding hard to try and get that short stack onto the final table. And good luck with that, sir. You know, I'm rooting for you. Put it that way. I'm not rooting for any other player, but I'd like to see Lenny grind that up a bit. Okay, on to the next hand. Chip counts are there. Lenny on 13 bigs is our short stack. So Greg's got King 10 under the gun here. These are really, really nice cards. I don't know what, I mean, Greg's now got 674,000, so he won't be throwing his chips away, but I like a call here or a little raise. So Greg's raised it up to 52,000. Folded round was got a suited hearts, of course. Mr. Sun 5-4. I suspect we'll soon see that go in the muck. Maybe he wants to defend his big blind, who knows. So Mr. Sun calls the 28,000. Flop comes 6-6-3. And that's an up and down straight draw for Mr. Sun. Amazing how many times he does that. Check, check. 10 gives Greg top pair. So he now has 2 pair. Mr. Sun's betting, but he's not getting anywhere. Greg will flat this, might even re-raise. Mr. Sun's looking for any 2 or any 7. And he calls. And the jack bring no help for Mr. Sun. Mr. Sun has 5 high, pair of 10s is ahead. And Mr. Sun's having a stab at this. I love his play here. He's not going to get it through.
116,000.
Even if he's trying to rep a jack, I think Greg sniffs this out. It's just a stone cold bluff from Mr. Sun. And Mr. Sun will fold face cards down. Stone cold bluff. You got caught. Sorry for you. So we're down to 11 players. One more player to go before we go to our final table. Mr. Sun leads the way with 30% of the chips in play on the final table, on the feature table.
It's not yours. That's fine. Well,
So under the gun, Lenny Freeman here. Lenny, our short stack, is looking for spots, and Aston, who's just chipped up big time off of Boaz, we saw earlier. 7-2 in a hijack is going nowhere. Kenny gets rid of his cards as well, 10-5. Boaz with the ace-3 on the button. And Boaz likes to play cards. He's took his Michael Jackson gear off now, well, the glove anyhow, so he's no longer impersonating. And as we carry on through the hand, fresh from this event, I'd like to welcome a very good friend of mine and a well-known poker player in South Africa, a very accomplished poker player, Mr. David Rosenthal.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Only a pleasure, Bozo. Only a pleasure.
Obviously would much rather be sitting there right now. It's been a tough morning, but I'm over it.
Good man.
I am over it. We roll with the punches, and what an incredible event this has actually been.
Ooh, Mr. Sun just makes his flush here. So Boaz is drawing dead.
It doesn't mean if Mr. Sun would do really well here too. Anyway, okay, so the hand will be over. So I'm not sure what's happening between, but it looks like Mo has dropped significantly, which is surprising to me because he looked in a great zone this morning. But I know you want me to touch on the event a little bit, and we'll just let this hand play out.
Well, I want to know firstly your take on the beautiful Sun Sibaya Casino and Entertainment world.
So, I mean, it's beautiful. It's actually, when you walk from the lodge to the poker room, it's almost got like that Sun City vibe to it, where it's like, I like the paving and the greenery. And then as you walk from the lodge to the casino and you look right, and it's just that blue sea, it's beautiful.
Stunning.
It really is nice. I actually had rooms changed when I arrived here because for me it's really important to see the sea.
Okay.
After player, these days I'm going straight to the room, so doing a lot of work on my poker, and to be able to have that view, actually I think is good for the mind.
Would you like me to play some whale sounds in the back for you as
yeah, well, I mean, I could. I'm gonna keep it clean, but you know, when we are at poker tournaments, we do hear some similar sounds in the evenings, but it's.
I've just given David a bit of needle here. The douche has just appeared online here, Dean Douche. So shout out.
You missed me, brother. You missed me. I ran my queens into 7-4. I know he would have been watching for me. We were speaking about him the whole morning, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I miss him. I miss my mates in Australia, Dave. Very close group of friends, but.
So well,
the venue's fantastic. Food options are great. Always nice to travel, and I think it's the first time we've actually had a big event in Durban. So the guys here are primed for it. The numbers have been great. Everything's pretty cool, man. Very chilled venue. It's kind of like Phil's holiday / poker, and I think that's what it's about. People bring their families. Enjoy the experience more than just sitting down and playing a poker tournament.
Is that what all those small people are that run around in the breakfast buffet? They're children, are they? Is that what they are?
They're children.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't know. I have none.
Don't do small people anymore. Just kidding. It is a family event.
I might have been one of them. I think you might have had me confused.
Yeah. Far be it from me. I've given you enough flack on the stream. No more.
But I must say, I've been in a better routine for poker. So generally, I miss breakfast. I'm normally up after breakfast closes, and yeah, I've been away for breakfast. I have enjoyed the buffet at the Sibaya Lodge. I have had a sneak peek at the suites in the hotel.
Yeah.
And they are out of this world.
Really?
So I know what I'm going to be asking Harold for next year when we come to Sibaya.
So one day when we're big, we might get a suite, eh?
Right. I might have to just find this high roller and then twist his arm after that because.
Well, put your shoes outside. I'll polish them, and maybe I'll get a suite on the doorstep.
I can't have too much entitlement, but the experience has been great. The Monsterjam experience is great. We all know that. For us, it's been quite a lot of poker recently, and there's still a lot of poker to come. We've come from our provincial event, and highly competitive, and really just a couple of days off and straight into the 60K. So I'm feeling it a bit, Gaz, I'll be honest. I'm a bit tired.
PE's only a month away. We just
You mean Times Square?
No, we've just left PE.
Yes. So
we've just left the Wild Coast.
So this is the point I'm making. It's been back to back. And now we've got this, and then 2 back-to-back series. It's a tough grind. This running
Well,
at the end of the year is tough.
Our equipment for the RFID table, well, the actual table itself, has not been home for 3 events. It's just kept going south. So we took our other kit home and serviced it, but the RFID table was, Port Edward, Port Elizabeth, and now we're here in sunny Doves,
Now, I mean, I find it very interesting you've had to draw boxes on the table. I feel like you've had probably some naughty poker players in the past that have maybe not lined their cards up correctly.
You're setting yourself up.
I'm not pointing fingers at myself or anything.
You're setting yourself up.
But
here,
they've been called the bozo boxes, I think, the whole tournaments.
Not by me, I might add.
Okay.
No,
Just
no.
by every other
There is a
technician.
reason. There is a reason.
No, I'm teasing. The technology seems to have been a bit more accurate. I generally go through all the hands after a series because here it's not archived as yet.
No.
I think it gets archived probably a day or 2 later. Is that right? To upload it.
Yeah.
And I must say, whereas in the beginning I think it was a test run at Wild Coast, and I had spoken to
Let's just cut back to the screen here.
and
please,
Greg's chipped up nicely. Hey, he's found it to 884.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I like a little raise here for customer hunting. He's not shipping here. He's got too many chips now.
No, he won't be.
He was in shipping mode earlier, but just a nice raise, just hook in the water, and let's just pick up one customer.
I think so, and you know what? Moaz with an ace in his hand
Yeah.
will feel it's very unlikely Greg's got aces. Although, I think with his stack, he's actually just going to be letting go here, to be honest with you.
Waz is actually quite frustrated. He's lost a couple of big hands since he sat down back at dinner. First time he woke up with kings, he lost. Someone
really?
straighted up on him, and then he ace jack, and he got into it with Huawei son who had queens.
Okay.
And he got out cheap, but
Yeah.
to be fair, but and Greg just picks up 115,000, so it's a little bit of dead money out there on the table for him.
Look, Moaz, me and Moaz, we've been speaking a lot of poker. I've got a lot of respect for his game. He's done just about everything there is to do in South African poker, and a tournament purist. So I feel now possibly opening a little bit too wide and too often. I'd like to see him just maybe slow it down a little bit. It could get him paid with still keeping the image. I think people might be raising him light, and I think he would do well to gear down a little bit in order to gear up a bit later. But I do think a lot of his game. We played quite a big hand against one another earlier. He eliminated me. I've had a flood of messages come in and this, and I think people have taken the hand at face value, and really I don't. I take it I take it on its merits. And Muaz, I don't think he really did anything wrong in the hand. It was just how it played out. He flopped the world.
Yeah, I mean, for people at home who aren't watching, I mean, Moaz had 2 small clubs.
He had
And-
7-4 of clubs. And
Yeah. And you had a premium hand, of course.
I did. I had pocket queens, and raising, I 3-bet him to 82,000. He had made it 35, made it 82, and Muaz would have called me knowing I had a big hand there. It was very hard for me to disguise it at the time, and I understand it. I think the flop turned it into a cooler.
Yeah. Just 1 second. We're just going to flip to the outside table. There's an all-in moment brewing here. Looks like Rakesh at the end has got his chips in. So we just want to check. We're watching we're watching the action on the feature table by the graphics on the left of your screen, but we're actually watching the play on the table, on the outer table. So this is a pivotal moment. This is final table stuff. This will be the last player out for the final table.
Oh, are
bubble.
we down to 11?
Yeah, we're down to 11. And we lost
when
Sean
Abdul's-
Govender earlier.
Is he called?
I don't know how much it was. We've got no.
One thing
I
with
know
Abdul is
he's pushing
you can
chips.
see when he's about to fold his cards. And
Okay, we'll go back to the feature table.
okay.
And carry on, David. Sorry, to interrupt you.
So I actually had quite a deep discussion with Moaz on the hand, and he is opening wide. He had a big stack, and you do have to understand that in a tournament it ends one of 2 ways. You end with every single chip in play or 0, and there's no in between. And I've got no issue with his aggression. I also like to be table captain, so I can't be pointing fingers. And as it happens, my hand was pretty face up. It's hard to disguise. With my stack, I'm 3-betting there with premium, and I think him knowing that makes it easier for him to call.
No, for sure. And you know, I think you said he flopped the world. I think that's right. You know,
He did. It came 8-5 deuce with 2 clubs, and you got 7-4 of clubs.
Yeah.
And where me and him actually had a very long discussion was bet sizing on the turn. Is generally I'm betting into 200, probably betting about 70, and I don't really want to be check called in that spot. And I also think it does look often like ace king, ace queen. It induces that sort of a play. So 106 for me felt a better amount than 70 in that moment. And you know what? I take the hands. I'll take it on the chin. I'm quite happy with how it all played out. I'll put my money in that spot. And it is what it is. And Moa's got the chips, and I wish him the best with them. Got a lot of respect for him. He's a good friend of mine. He was being called Michael. He was struggling with his hands. I bought him that glove yesterday to keep
So
him
it's
warm.
it's your fault.
It's my fault.
I've been giving him some flack on the stream.
But you know, just to defend Moaz, because I've had a lot of messages saying, "Wow, 7-4, this, that," and really, I understand tournament poker. I understand the gearing up of it, and I got no issue with how Mo played the hand. I've got no issue with how I played the hand. I actually see it more as a cooler than anything else. And I wish him the best with the chips. I really do. Bleak to be sitting here with you, but I take it on the chin. We're professionals, and we've got a high roller in 2 days' time again. So we move on and we move forward.
And you know, for the folks out there, we spoke a lot about the way in which people take beats, bad beats, good beats, or whatever the case may be. And I default to my father's advice: you win with grace and you lose with grace. And David, you're a great example and a great professional, and we admire you for that.
Thank you, guys.
And you know, thank you for having the stones to coming in here, sit next to me, because you know you're going to get grilled about that, and you knew that was going to happen as soon as you walked through the door.
Yes, I was prepped on it as it happened.
So you know, and thank you for your. I mean, listening to you know, opening your hearts, you know, telling us how it is, you know, and that's what people want to know. They want to know what's inside Bozo's head. They want to know what was going on, what makes him tick, you know. They're interested because they're all aspiring to be you guys, you know.
And I'll tell you what, Gaz, like you know, you touched on something there. Is like it's not just winning with grace, it's losing with grace. It's about just understanding this game that we play, and especially with tournament poker, where in high rollers and super high rollers, variance can be so high. You cannot take it to heart. I mean, for a guy like me, we play for, especially for me, this is huge money. And if I'm going to sit there worrying about the money and all of that, then I can't actually I can't apply myself appropriately to the tournament. And I do think that has served me well. And I had a discussion with some of the fresher poker players after mine, and they had asked me the same thing. And it's like, look, so one of the best advices, the best piece of advice I ever got for poker was don't get too high, don't get too low.